So hi, hello, good evening, everyone. So we have Dr. Yuvraj Jadeja with us today. Yuvraj Jadeja is a very young, dynamic obstetrician and gynecologist from Anand. He's currently practicing in Akanksha Hospital and Research Center. He's a great orator. We are very, very lucky to have him live with us today. So for the first 15 minutes, he will talk about your missing antenatal visits and scans, which all of us are concerned about. And for the next 45 minutes, he will take all your questions live. Please post your questions here on the comment section, and Dr. Yuvraj will answer all of them. So over to you, Dr. Yuvraj. You can please enlighten us on the current situation and about the missing antenatal scans and visits. Over to you, Dr. Yuvraj.
Yeah. Thank you, Ravi. So, good evening, everyone. First of all, before we start, I hope all of you are having a great day, staying safe, staying home, what you've been hearing in and out. This is a good initiative because, and also an important need of the hour because, I mean, let's face it, all of us are not able to go out of the house. And for other reasons, it's pretty okay. But when you're pregnant, the questions of your routine checkups, and more importantly, the scans that you have been posted for will not be happening because of the lockdown. And I'm sure that it's probably stressing you out. Of course, the easiest thing is just to, pick up the phone and call your doctor. And I'm sure everyone is on their toe to reply people today to prevent all your panic. But it's always good to know from different sources. It's always good to know what you're going into. Is there really anything to worry about or not? So yeah, so pregnancy, I mean, the net is flooded with information about corona and pregnancy, effects of corona on pregnancy. Is pregnancy high risk to corona? Is corona being transmitted to kids or not? I'm not going to touch that because I think people are tired listening to it. Luckily, we know that pregnancy has not been a high risk patient category for corona. Luckily, transplacental, which is the transmission of corona from the mother to the baby, is as of now not happening. Breastfeeding mothers, breast milk has not shown any traces of corona. So those are the good signs, so to speak, in terms of pregnancy and corona. But I think in all these conversations, I think general conversation that we miss out is, all right, you're fine, but what do you do? You're not having corona. And I think 80% of us are not going to have corona, but then what are you going to do with your routine pregnancy? How long is it going to last? And is it causing you any stress if it's... So one, I'm going to cover trimester wise, that is in your first 3 months, the second 3 months, and the third 3 months. When is it required that you actually need a scan? Where can you actually postpone a scan? When is a scan not that high a priority? And also I'll be touching on something where in emergency cases, what are certain signs and symptoms which might be an emergency for you to actually go for a scan, because that the time, the date, your gestation would really not matter. It's particularly that period of time. If you're suffering from certain symptoms, it's important you get yourself checked. So coming to the first point, if you're getting pregnant, if you are pregnant already, or that we'll cover later, but this is going to be a 1 month period and all of you are going to have your time, your periods. And in case you've missed it, I think please don't wait. It's good to know. So the first thing is get your urine pregnancy done. And if you are diagnosed, if you come to know that you're pregnant, you don't need to rush to a hospital there in and there out. So normally what we do is, once you get a urine pregnancy test that's positive, you want to immediately consult a doctor, rightly so. But actually speaking, it might not be warranted in this period. It's not really necessary that you immediately go to a doctor once you see that you've missed your period or you're pregnant. But what is important is you need to know in certain cases if you've got pregnant, that is especially when you've had a precious pregnancy or you've had a previous complicated pregnancy, then it's warranted that you actually have a consultation on the day you realize that you're pregnant. And what I mean precious, I don't mean that uncomplicated pregnancies are not precious. All pregnancies are precious. But what I mean is pregnancies which are going to have high chances of developing complications. So, one, if you are a higher age female, for example, if you're more than 35 years of age, it's anyways difficult for you to get pregnant. If you got pregnant, the chances of miscarriages are higher. So, you need to consult a doctor, start your medications, which are required to prevent these kind of complications. So, one is your higher age. Second, of course, if you've had history of recurrent miscarriages. So you've had miscarriages on and off. You've had one miscarriage, two miscarriage, and now you've again conceived. It's always better to seek a consultation, go for a scan if possible immediately. Third is, of course, if you're suffering from some kind of medical disorders. So if you're a diabetic patient, if you're a hypothyroid patient, or you have a chronic kidney disease, or you have any form of chronic illness, any immune disease, you've got lupus, or any form of these chronic illness which you've been taking medicines for long, or say, for example, you're an epileptic patient and are on your anti-epileptic drugs, any form of medical illness and pregnancy, you need to immediately consult your doctor, check your medicine, do a scan, and then move forward. And the last, of course, is there'll be a time during this entire quarantine period where a lot of IVF pregnancies, that is people who have undergone in vitro fertilization or you've undergone infertility treatments and you've got pregnant. If you've undergone an infertility treatment and got pregnant, then it's very important that you immediately rush to a hospital. Not rush, that's a wrong word, but you seek a consultation. So one is your first trimester scan. The first scan that is done in a pregnancy is precisely one, to diagnose your pregnancy. Second, to know the viability of your pregnancy. So we all know that, just getting a positive pregnancy test on a urine kit does not really mean you have a viable pregnancy. And when I mean a viable pregnancy, means a pregnancy that's growing properly, that has a good heartbeat, and does not have any other abnormal findings on your scan. The first scan shows, one, the viability of the pregnancy, the age of your pregnancy, what you call as the gestational age of your pregnancy, and third is the number of pregnancies. So many of you might be conceiving twins, or you have a single pregnancy. But in these times, if you're in a hotspot zone and your city is having a lot of exposure and a lot of cases of coronavirus, so to speak, the scan might not be that important. I mean, you might be able to wait. It doesn't mean that you're pregnant post 1 week, you have to get a scan. You might do it after 2 weeks. You might as well do it after 3 weeks. I mean, people who have irregular periods, females who have irregular periods, don't even realize that they are pregnant for 1.5 to 2 months and their babies are fine. So if in case you're in a zone that is a high risk for corona, I would advise just call your doctor, send your husband for medications and start your medications. You can avoid your first scan as much as you can. When the lockdowns open, you can go for a scan and check whether everything is okay or not. Again, if you're in your first trimester and in case, what are the signs and symptoms, or what are the indications that you might actually need to go for a scan? So if you're pregnant and you've suddenly started feeling that you're having a lot of cramping, which is not subsiding, then it's important that you take a consultation. A scan might be warranted if you have bleeding. So if you have a spot or say a very slight dark discharge for a day with stops, you need not worry. If you're having a fresh bleeding which keeps on continuing and you think it's heavy, please go for it. So in spite of saying all this, your instinct and your body knows the best. So without getting too much stress, if you feel something is wrong, don't delay your treatment or don't delay a scan. What we are talking about is routine scans that you can avoid. So your first scan is something that is not a date-oriented scan. It's not that you have to reach at 6 weeks, you have to reach at 7 weeks. You can as well wait and go at, you're talking till 14th, not very long now. You can wait for the date and let things subside and go for a scan. Shall I continue, Ravi? Or
yeah, doctor, we can take a few questions and then maybe we can continue. Would that be fine?
Yeah. As you said.
Yeah. So there are so many questions already. The first question is from Juhi Chaudhary. Juhi Chaudhary is in her 27th week of pregnancy and she is diagnosed with cholestasis on Udiliv 300 mg thrice a day. What else you think she should do?
So cholestasis is a benign condition, to be first of all. So it's not something that you need to be really stressed about until unless it doesn't reach a certain level. So cholestasis of pregnancy means building up. So very simply speaking, mild jaundice in your pregnancy, and this is a jaundice which is physiological, which is happening because of pregnancy. It's not that because you're having hepatitis or you're having any kind of liver dysfunction that's jaundice is occurring. And I think since you've been prescribed Udiliv, you are also suffering from maybe some form of itching throughout your body. So if you're having cholestasis of pregnancy, the only thing that you need to do is continue your Udiliv. And if your things are fine, you need not worry. But make sure, one, if you start seeing yellowish discoloration of your skin, or the best place to see is the conjunctiva, that is the white part of your eye. Keep checking the white part of it. And when I say keep checking, doesn't mean morning, evening, night, get obsessed over it. Check it once a day. The moment someone in your house feels that you're turning yellow, it's a sign that cholestasis might be converting into something that's complicated. Second, if you're having too much itching over your body, might be it's warranted that you go and talk to your doctor once or visit him or her once. Otherwise, cholestasis is pretty okay. Don't worry, you're going to have a normal pregnancy.
Thank you so much, doctor. The next question is from Shushma Raghuram. She got her anomaly scan done today, but the doctor asked her to postpone till 15th. She said it can wait, but she's worried. Maybe it was scheduled today. She had written that the scan had been done.
See, I think that was something very nice that I would anyways going to point out. You see, pregnancy. If you need to know that not all pregnancies are going to be abnormal. First of all, what is important to know is majority of you are going to be normal, right? So the incidence of having an abnormal finding in your scan is 10 in 1,000. So some might say it's high, but going a step forward, abnormality does not always mean a red sign. Abnormality might be a sixth finger is also an abnormality, right? A simple cyst is also an abnormality. So only 10 out of 1,000 will have an abnormality that is found on your scan, and out of which only 3 to 4 are going to have abnormalities that are actually dangerous. So, I think in these times, if you're scheduling your scan a week later or a week before, if you've not had any complications in your pregnancy before, if you've not had a history in your family where abnormal children have been born, or your previous pregnancy, if you might have had one, had an abnormal pregnancy, you are 99% going to come out to be normal. So relax, chill, just enjoy your pregnancy. And you can hit me if you have an abnormal scan, but I guarantee you, you're not going to have an abnormal scan.
Yeah, thank you so much, doctor. That's very assuring. Sushma, you can put your comments and share your opinion on what doctor said. So we have so many questions already, more than 15 questions already, and hundreds of people are watching us live. We also have Dr. Nishad Chimote, Dr. Niharika Malhotra, Dr. Jaideep Malhotra watching this live and saying you hello.
Hello, everyone.
So the next question is from Poonam, Rita Nigam. She's in her 35th week of pregnancy. She's having back pain, vaginal pain, and pain in the thighs. So what she should do?
See, 36 weeks is a time where you might go into labor. So the first thing I'll say is, if you're at 36 weeks, there are two things. Either you're having those false labor pains, which we known as Braxton Hicks contractions. You're going to feel a little uncomfortable. You're going to feel heaviness in the lower part of your vagina because your head is kind of what we call in the scientific language is getting engaged, which means it's entering your pelvis. So you might feel all that. You might have certain tightness of your abdomen, which might come and go, which is absolutely normal. But once these contraction, the frequency starts decreasing, the intensity starts increasing. If you have any kind of, say, for example, very watery, heavy discharge or bleeding, which is the first bleeding, which I mean is not profuse bleeding, but maybe some red mucus discharge from your vagina, that means you're probably progressing into labor. So if your pain is increasing in intensity, coming at increased frequency, if it's becoming unbearable, if you're having some kind of bleeding, if you're having some kind of vaginal discharge, then I think it's warranted that you might go into labor, get yourself checked once. Otherwise, you can just wait and watch. And of course, if again another important thing is make sure I don't know your previous history, but you should either you're a first pregnancy or if you're a second pregnancy, and if you have previous cesarean sections or certain surgeries on your uterus, then I might warrant an earlier visit to your hospital, because in that case we might want to avoid you going into too much of labor and pain without any you know check from the hospital or your doctor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sushma is thanking you. The next question we have is from Anita Ayappan. Anita is in her third month of pregnancy. She took ultrasound on 23rd March and the fetus heartbeat was not heard. So the doctor suggested to take another scan after 2 weeks. So she is worried, due to this lockdown. Is it fine if she can take it after 4 weeks?
How many weeks was she, Ravi? Sorry, I didn't get you.
Jan 31st is her last period date. So it is.
So Jan 31st. Yeah. So February and March, right? So she's 8 weeks. Ideally, she should go and check, because 2 weeks lag, and if she has not seen a heartbeat, that means she was almost 6.5, 7 weeks.
No, she has completed more than 12 weeks, no, doctor. It's been more than 3 months. So
yeah. So and if
sorry, it's 7 weeks. You're right.
So it's 7, and if ideally by 7 to 8 weeks, until it's a delayed conception, a heartbeat should be there. It might be delayed, but it's better to get it checked. Again, not to scare you, but you have to check whether you've miscarried or not. And the first sign of miscarriage usually is, if your symptoms, if you had a lot of vomiting, and if you had a lot of pregnancy symptoms which are all subsided, it's not a good sign. Second is, most of the time, if there's the heartbeat is absent and you've not done anything about it, it slowly leads to a little bit of bleeding. So if you're having some red discharge or some spotting, it's not a good sign. Get yourself checked first. I think you should get yourself checked.
Yeah, Anita, so you got the Dr. Yuvraj's advice. The next question is from Poonam Shinde. Poonam completed 21 weeks today, and due to the lockdown, she is unable to get the anomaly scan. The doctor asked her to do it after 22 and 24th week. Is it fine? She's a bit worried about
that's the same we talked about, Mrs. Shushma also, that
right.
21. Ideally, your anomaly scans can be done by 22, 23 weeks, and if you don't have an option, as I told you, most pregnancies are going to have normal scans. I'm pretty sure you have a normal scan. Don't stress over it, and whenever the lockdown opens up, book an appointment and do a scan. I think you don't need to really worry about it. I mean, if it's possible and a scan should be done, I agree. But this is all about where you are. Like, for example, the place that I am, we haven't had a case of corona. So I might encourage a patient, if in case it's too stressed, to just come and get yourself checked once. But if you are in an area where there are a lot of cases, I think it's absolutely required that you don't go out. I mean, you're going to have a normal scan. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So viewers who joined late and missed the good suggestions given by Dr. Yuvraj, you can just go back and watch. He has actually advised us about early pregnancy and mid pregnancy, and what you should do in case you miss some scans and antenatal visits. He'll also be speaking more about this before we take some questions. Deepthi Muralidhar is in her 29th week of pregnancy, so she's asking what all vaccinations should be taken now.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. So, see, just because you're at home, that's what I'm doing. Just because you're at home doesn't really mean that you need not take care of your antenatal meds and vaccinations. Those are absolutely possible to be done at house. There are, I think, at 28 weeks, I'm sure your tetanus is covered. So if your tetanus is covered, primarily it's done. And make sure that you have a proper tetanus TDP vaccine. So now the tetanus vaccine is not only tetanus, it's a combination of tetanus and diphtheria and tetanus. So make sure that you've taken your tetanus. And I think corona again is a family of flu viruses, which is influenza viruses, and pregnancy and influenza vaccines have become very common. It's actually now a recommendation that all pregnancies post 24-25 weeks should have flu vaccinations. So get yourself a flu vaccination and complete your tetanus course. I think that should cover you for now.
Yeah. So one follow-up question from Poonam, who asked earlier about the anomaly scan. She had a history of 2 miscarriages earlier, so she's worried because of that.
Yeah. So that's a good question. See, ideally, history of miscarriages are very important till 13 weeks. Not saying it's not important; it's important throughout your pregnancies. But if you're going to miscarry, then most of these miscarriages are going to happen by 3 months. So the fact that you've reached 21 weeks itself is, to an extent, a relaxation for you. So these miscarriages, so when I mean miscarriages, usually they are early miscarriages, right? If you've had pregnancy problems later on, then you just need to take your car out and immediately go to a doctor and get yourself checked. But if your miscarriages, technically speaking, were in your first trimester, the first 3 months, then you've actually crossed that danger zone, and your 21 weeks, which is actually a good sign. It's a relaxation for you to just relax and don't stress over it. But if you, in a layman term, if your miscarriages were, or your, say, pregnancy complications were in the 5th month, in the 6th month, in the 7th month, I think then you might need to move and see your doctor.
Yeah. So, Doctor, the next question is from Vijay Durga Paturi. She asked this question inside the iMumz application. So she recently tested positive. Congratulations, Vijay Durga. And due to the lockdown, she didn't go and visit any doctor. She's in her 6th week of pregnancy. So what precautions she should take?
So the first thing is, again, congratulations. The first thing is call your doctor. Don't shy away from calling your doctor or text your doctor and inform him or her that you're pregnant. Take your medications, all the prescription, ask them to send you online and get your medications, which are not going to be very much if you're just a natural pregnancy. It's just going to be your normal vitamins, folic acid, if you're having your vomiting, all those tablets. Precautions that you need to take generally are the same as you're going to take in your first trimester, whether corona or no corona. First trimesters always are precious, need to be taken care. They're a little bit high risk. Don't run around. Of course, it's corona, you're not going to run around, but don't do heavy household works. Uh, Avoid having sexual intercourse with your partner and eat properly, eat at small intervals. Keep a check on your warning signals. That is, if you have a bleeding, if you have severe cramps or something, that's something that you need to be taking care of. Otherwise, generally maintain your health, stay stress free. Again, I want to stress this over here that first trimester pregnancies are very, very, very susceptible to your stress levels in your body. So if you're just getting freaked out about generally about corona or generally about your pregnancy and not being checked up, unfortunately might have an adverse effect on your pregnancy. Relax. I think we are on an iMom live chat. I mean, a lot of my patients have liked the app once I was introduced to it. There's a lot of, a lot of activities are going on. I think they're doing a daily activity. Engage yourself in a daily activity. Do your meditation. Do your, listen to a good music or something. Just don't stress over it. And whenever you get time, you can go and have a pregnancy. Until and unless, as we mentioned before, also, if you're a high risk pregnancy, say you've conceived after infertility or you've had history of recurrent miscarriages, or your age is very high, then you might need an early visit. Otherwise, you're fine. I'm sure you're going to be
fine. Thank you so much, doctor. So as Dr. Yuvraj ji said, many of the pregnant women who consult her are using iMumz application, and they're feeling very mindful with all these practices. So glad to know this, Dr. Yuvraj. So the next question is from Sophie. Sophie is in her 30th week of pregnancy. She's feeling shortness of breath from past few days. Is it normal?
So 30 weeks of pregnancy, feeling a little bit of shortness of breath is ideally normal, Sophie. But if it's too much, that means it's causing you laborious breathing. And make sure that if it's while sitting or just while standing without doing any work, then it's something that you might to keep a check on. I'm not saying just run to a hospital, but it might be increased when you're sleeping supine. So, what happens is you have a heavy uterus now. 30 weeks means your baby is probably 1.5 kgs weight. So your uterus is growing in size. So it's pressing your stomach, it's pressing your lungs. So certain positions might give you shortness of breath. If you do a lot of work, it might give you shortness of breath, which is normal in pregnancy. But without anything, just lying down, sitting, if you're having shortness of breath, you might need to keep an eye on it. If you have a more aggravated shortness of breath when you're sleeping, make sure you're not sleeping supine. Supine, I mean, a normal position when your tummy faces the roof and you're having your head on the pillow, because then what happens is the heavy uterus is just pressing over your vessels and blood supply. So in that case, sleep in a left lateral position, that is karvat leke, left side pe so jao. I think it might help you a little bit.
Thank you so much, doctor. So the next question is from Saumya. Saumya asked this question inside the iMumz app. So Saumya is in her 32nd week of pregnancy. She has gestational diabetes. It is totally under control, but yesterday it was 165 and today it is 138 post 1 hour after the food. Should she be concerned? Also, she's asking if we can suggest about some exercise.
So diabetes and pregnancy, 32 weeks, you have to be a little vigilant, right? Because one is, so first let me get to the sugar question. So your sugar 168 and 130 today, I don't think, why are you worried? So it's a good sign, right? So monitor your sugar maybe a little bit more routinely if you think that there is a lot of fluctuation. And see, sugar fluctuations uh, are easily managed by your doctors over the phone. You don't need to go for a checkup just for your sugar fluctuation. Keep your chart and send him him or her a 4 or 5 day chart of what your post lunch or dinner and maybe your fasting sugars have been, whatever they have advised you to. And if there is, I don't know whether she's on insulin or if she's taking medicine. So if you're taking medicines and you're on insulin, then probably they might adjust your dose. If you're not taking any medications and you're just on your diet, then 168 is a little high. Not again to kind of put put alarms in your head, but just take care of your diet a little bit more. Exercises, look, the only exercises now you're going to be doing is in your house. So I think what you can do is some kind of meditation. It will help you, a little bit of yoga. But I think in these days, diet will be most important. So take care of your diet. Um, Talk to a nutritionist if you have one, or your doctor if you have one. Or I think, again, the app that we are in, the iMumz app, has a nutritionist. I think has exercising plans also. They might help you out. But the other thing I want to put to notice here is in diabetes, 32 weeks. One thing you can't forget is keep your counts. Where counts, I mean your fetal kicks. So keep a check on the fetal movement, because that is the most important thing you can do when you're not going for a checkup after near 32 weeks, or when you're reaching your full term in diabetes, because diabetes tends to somehow complicate pregnancy later on. Not that you're going to be complicated, but it's better to be precautious. So keep an eye on your fetal movement. That's very important.
Thank you so much, doctor. The next question is from Vardhan Saxena. Vardhan's wife is in her 14th week of pregnancy. She's facing heavy gastric issues. Seems to burp even if she's touching her belly. Should she be worried about it?
See, gastric issues, you're not supposed to be worried about it. But the only thing is, of course, it's going to cause you a lot of discomfort. So if you're having gastric issues, those burps and those bad smelling breath post your burps and all, that means you're having you're having either some kind of indigestion, and second, you're having some kind of hyperacidity or gastric problems, which is very common in pregnancy. So the first thing I'll advise you to do is just take a simple antacid, Gelusil syrup hai, Mucain gel hai. You get a lot of over-the-counter drugs, that is the anti-antacid drugs, or a simple ranitidine, Rantac tablets, which I think sabke ghar pe hoti hai. Please ask her to take before every meal, that is half an hour before the lunch and dinner. And cut down on your oils, cut down on your spicy food, cut down on your sugar a little bit, and cut down on your caffeine if she's drinking a lot of tea. So all those hyperacidic foods you cut down on, and I think she should do fine.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is from Shilpa Rani. Shilpa Rani is in her 7th week of pregnancy. She had her FET on March 9th, and the
Sorry, I didn't get you.
HCG
What did she have on 9th March?
FET, I don't know what that means. FET on March 9th.
FET, okay.
Yeah, FET. And her HCG is currently 12,000 MUI per ml on 1st April. And the doctor said the HCG growth is little slow. Is this something to be worried about?
So see, I mean, FET, so everyone who's hearing it, FET is frozen embryo transfer. So she's had a IVF pregnancy, and 12,000 is a pretty good count actually. So she's got a positive pregnancy. Congratulations. See, 12,000 is not a less count, but she can probably follow up later on, Ravi, on while we are chatting. She needs to send me 2 reports. So HCG should rise. So if you have your first HCG at 12,000 is very high, but say for example, she might have a previous one. So if your HCG was say 4,000 before, the second 48 hours later on, your HCG should rise by around 66, 70, 80%. So 4,000 should become somewhere around 7,500 or 800. And if if she has a rise of 75 or 80%, she's in a good zone. She doesn't need to do anything. Continue all her post IVF medications, and anyways, the scan is going to fall after 2 weeks, so she'll be good to go by 15. But she needs to tell us what were her previous, or if it was just one HCG, then it's very good. She might repeat it after 48 hours. But I think this is her second or third, and if it's not growing, it's a little bit of a concern. So if she can tell us her previous HCGs, we'll have a better idea.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So, Shilpa, if you are watching this live, please let us know. You can have a follow-up answer with Dr. Yuvraj. So, the next question is from Srishti Shukla. Srishti is in her 6th week of pregnancy. She's having very light blood patches like periods. Can you tell whether it's normal or not? 6th week of pregnancy.
So, see, Srishti, any bleeding in pregnancy is not welcomed, first of all. Saying that, maybe a spot at 6 weeks for a day or two, which is not very heavy, which is not painful, is all right. But if you've had these bleeding or spotting, so to speak, which is lasted for a few days and it's not subsiding, then it does require you to get a consultation to get yourself checked. Because then it's something. Not that I'm not just saying that it's a bad thing and something is wrong. It just means that you need a little bit of a support and some medications extra to control your pregnancy and continue.
Thank you so much, sir. Shilpa actually sent the report. So she had 4 HCGs. First count is 42, 179, 742, and 1282. So it's an increasing pattern. She did 4 HCGs.
42, 170.
42, 179, 742, and 1282.
Right.
First, second, third, and fourth.
Yeah. So Shilpa, see, ideally speaking, you've had a good increase in your count, one. But I think you need to get a scan done in the next few days, because your initial count was very less. A 40 HCG report, though you call positive, and doesn't mean that it will never lead to a good pregnancy, but is not a good sign. Saying that, we've seen a lot of patients, but those are few with even the first HCG is 40. They tend to grow and have a proper pregnancy and deliver. So the only thing I want to tell you is, without getting you stressed, is that you are actually in a good state, that your 40 has reached 1, 2, whatever it is, but it's a little less, and you need to have good support in your medicines and get your, I think, without just stressing over a lot of scientific stuff here, I think you need to get yourself checked, and so not tomorrow, but within a week, take good rest, because you have a very delicate pregnancy, so to speak, not just because of IVF, which obviously is delicate, but because your initial titers were a little less. So please rest, don't move around, take your medicines extremely regularly and on time. And also, your doctor, since your HCGs are not rising, might have prescribed you certain more supportive drugs to support your pregnancy. Please start them, continue them, and let us know. I will wish that everything is fine.
Thank you so much, doctor. All the best. The next question is from Rachna Gautam. Rachna is in her 32nd week of pregnancy. Can she skip the follow-up with her doctor till 10th April? There is a 10th April meeting scheduled. Can she skip that?
Oh yeah, you can. So if you have a good movement in if you can feel a good fetal movement, you're having no other problems, you're not having a lot of pain, and there's no other issues with you, you can kind of skip because of the recent whatever lockdown, you can probably afford to skip a checkup. The only thing is, again, if your previous checkup did tell you something that was alarming, such as your water levels were low, or your fetal growth was not up to the mark, or your blood pressures were rising, then in that case you shouldn't. If you have an absolutely asymptomatic pregnancy as of yet, it's okay. Don't worry.
So, doctor, on the same note, what is your advice to the pregnant women who are in the third trimester and whose delivery date is nearing? What should they keep in their mind during this lockdown?
Yeah. So, if you're in your third trimester, the first thing I'd like to say is, so you are those lucky ones who are in your third trimester, because you now the only thing you need to be worried about is your delivery, which anyways is going to happen in a hospital. The thing that you need to take care of is, one, make sure that your fetal movements are proper, right? You're not having any heavy discharge in terms of like a clear fluid that is just seeped out and soiled your bed and your undergarments. Then that means your water has broken, your bag has broken, or you've got any bleeding or something. So if these signs are there, then you go to a hospital. Otherwise, if your movements are fine, you don't have any complicated pregnancies, you don't need to worry about it. You might as well go when you go into labor. Some signs that you need to take care is, if you have too much of headache, or if you have too much of swelling, or if you have black visions in your eye or something like that, that might be a sign of increased blood pressure. So some of those few alarming signs you need to take care of. Otherwise, in your third trimester, being at home, skipping maybe a checkup might not be that big an issue.
Thank you so much, doctor. That was very useful and informative for all the pregnant women who are expecting their baby very soon. So the next question is from Rachana Gautam. The next question is from Ruchigar. Ruchigar is asking when to take the tetanus, influenza, and Tdap injections in pregnancy.
So see, tetanus and Tdap is the same. So nowadays you don't tetanus alone you don't need to take. Tdap has to be taken. Influenza, yes. So tetanus can be taken anytime actually, right? So, but ideally you should take it by the end of your first trimester. Where 13 to 14 weeks, you should have taken your first shot. Tetanus doesn't have any side effect on your baby or something. So tetanus, there is no particular time that you have to take it on 4th month or 5th month or 6th month or something like that. So, but if it's your first pregnancy and you've never had a tetanus dose before, then it's important that you take 2 shots of tetanus 1 month apart. And if you had a previous pregnancy in your last 5 years, where you had a proper tetanus vaccination, then you just need to take 1 tetanus booster dose in this pregnancy. And as far as influenza vaccination is concerned, usually it's taken post 24, 25 weeks of your pregnancy. You can take it anytime. Sooner the better.
So the next question is from Mimosha. She's in her 11th week of pregnancy. She's asking if she can take drumstick during pregnancy.
Yeah, you can take drumsticks.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah. So, doctor, on the same lines, we usually notice pregnant women asking about common natural foods like some fruits or some vegetable or some commonly available dish or very popular dish like an idli dosa. Can they take in pregnancy? So, what is your general advice for all of the women?
I think you very nicely said that word. What is my general advice? And my general advice is I always ask them to eat what you like. Like there is nothing. It's not that you are having probably a one papaya that's going to give you a miscarriage. So it's that's all. Don't stress over it. I think pregnancy is a time where you can actually have the liberty to enjoy whatever you want. But the only problem here is that there are a lot of cravings. So what I'm advising you is, one is you need to have a healthy diet, right? Eat what you like. Especially in first trimester, I feel we don't need to push anyone to eat this, eat that, because anyways there is limited options for them to eat. They might be having a lot of aversion and to a lot of smell and a lot of food because of pregnancy. So whatever they like in first trimester, balance the meal and let them eat. Yeah, there are certain drugs which are sorry, not drugs, certain food which are counted to be abortifacient, such as because the papaya seeds and too much of fermented food and too much of oil. You s- that's because you want to avoid them having hyperacidity. You want to avoid them having these symptoms. Otherwise, having please eat whatever you like in moderation and don't cram on something that you like because that is something that we tend to do a lot commonly. Eat balanced proportion food. When I mean balanced, please have your own choice of protein, have your own choice of fiber, and have your own choice of fat. What I mean is protein can be your beans if you're vegetarian, chana hai, chole hai, all any protein, moong hai, white beans, rajma, anything is fine. Have a portion of protein. Dal, as a matter of fact, a simple dal is a protein. Have your salad, which is a portion of your fiber, right? And have your little carb and prepare them in a proper healthy oil. And that's it. That's what you need. I mean, all of you see, not everyone has a nutritionist and deliver a 3 kg healthy, beautiful baby boy and a girl. You don't need a special nutritionist. You just need to eat right.
Thank you so much for summarizing such an important topic, Doctor. On the same lines, there is a trend going on on the web currently. Let men cook on Monday. So this, I mean, everywhere around the country, so people are encouraging men to cook and take let women completely be from kitchen responsibility. So
And
iMumz is
you cook, Ravi.
yeah, I'm cooking every day,
Oh
Doctor.
my God. So good that I mean, I can't cook. So if I had a wife, she would starve.
Okay. So iMumz is encouraging the trend. So ask your husbands to come and follow the trend. You can share your photographs, anything with the hashtag Let Men Cook and tag iMumz app on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, any platform you use. So going to the next question. The next question is from Roshni Jaiswal. She's asking what sort of exercises she can do in second trimester.
Yeah. So second trimester is a safe period to exercise, right? But see, I would actually advise if a brisk walk, or if you have a treadmill at house, or you want to do your some of your stretching and your yoga sessions, or a little bit of a little bit of squats or a little bit of all those exercises are fine. But if you are a health freak, you really like to work out, then I think it's warranted that you have someone guide you through a workout. Especially, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, also people are asking to Dr. Apurva about different pranayams and different breathing exercises and different exercises that you need to do. So I think it's very important to get a physiotherapist if you can, if it's fine. It's not a compulsion because they are going to help you stretch and relax your muscles, which is important. The exercise in pregnancy needs to be right kind of exercise because otherwise you're just burning them for calories. But what you need is you need to subside your body pain that is in pregnancy. Secondly, it's also to kind of train your pelvic muscles for a labor that's going to happen later on. So these are all specified targeted exercises that is going to actually help you in pregnancy. Otherwise exercise is an exercise, you know so if you're really talking about exercise in pregnancy, it has to be targeted towards certain goal in pregnancy, and there you might require help. So those help a physiotherapist, or probably, I don't know whether this app has it or not, but a lot of apps who actually guide you through exercises of what you can do, what you cannot do. Say, for example, in your first trimester, people who are used to doing a lot of pranayams and meditations and breathing exercises, you can't do Bhastrika, right? Because that's like forceful breathing exercise, which leads to a lot of pressure in your pelvic region. So you need someone to guide you. Otherwise, to cut the long story short, go for a brisk walk for half an hour is absolutely fine. If you're doing some kind of stretching and yoga, then you need to be sure certain yoga poses might not be suitable for you. If you really like to exercise, and you target them with a physiotherapist so that they are targeted towards certain goal in your pregnancy.
Thank you so much, Doctor. On this same note, I'd like to share that iMumz is happy to help you with any sort of yoga advices you people need. We have in-house yoga expert, prenatal yoga experts who can guide you regarding yoga exercises. We also have yoga demonstrations of simple, safe poses inside the app, which you guys can check out. So the next question is from Pavana Anand. She's in her 22nd week of pregnancy. She's feeling tingling feeling or a sharp pull once in a while around the navel. Is it normal?
Yeah, I think it's normal. That's probably your baby telling you hi.
Yeah. So hi to your baby also, Pavna, from our side. The next question is from Amrita Priya. She is in her 13th week of pregnancy and taking folic acid, dofaston, and her anti-scan is on 14th April. She is scared it won't affect her pregnancy in case she missed the scan because of lockdown. Please advise.
Not doing a scan is not going to affect your pregnancy, please. The only requirement of a scan is we want to know whether your baby is doing fine. One. Second, the NT scan is basically for a little bit of information to diagnose whether you have certain genetic abnormalities in your baby. Again, as I said earlier, the chances of these reports coming positive is very, very less until you're a high risk pregnancy. So if you're more than 35, 36 years of age, yes, you need to do a timely NT scan. But if you are young, if you have a normal natural pregnancy, skipping an NT scan is not ideally advisable, but in this situation, it's not going to harm you. The second thing is you still have time till 20 weeks to diagnose these kind of abnormalities. So NT scan के बाद आता is NT scan is usually clubbed with a double marker report. So if you are not able to do that, 2 weeks, skip 2 weeks, and what is suggested to you is do a scan at 14, 15, 16 weeks and do a quadruple marker test. This is a test which is again going to give you the same report that an NT scan is going to give you. And again, just to kind of subside your stress levels, say, even if your NT scan comes positive for some abnormalities, it is not the end of the road. You know, majority of these NT scans which have high NT levels need a confirmation through an advanced test. And believe me, so many of them come normal on the advanced test. So NT scan is not the end of the road. Please don't worry. There was no NT scan 50 years back, but I think we are all fine. Yeah, it's there. We have to use it, but we have alternatives. You can do similar checkups that the NT scan do at 14 to 15 weeks, clubbed with your quadruple marker. So if you miss your NT scan, please don't worry. And in fact, I'll advise you, even if the lockdown goes down on 14, don't rush out. You're pregnant on 14. Just wait for a week or so and then go.
Yeah. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for summarizing so beautifully. There are no NT scans 50 years ago, and we have been going through this beautiful birthing process since millions of years. Divya is asking one question. She's in her 30th week of pregnancy, and the baby's weight is 1.5 kilograms. What food she should take for the fetal weight gain?
I'm so sorry. I think I diverted my mind to another question. Can you repeat?
Okay. So Divya is in her 30th week of pregnancy, and the weight of her baby is 1.5 kilograms. She's asking what food she can take for the fetal weight gain.
Divya, you have 1.5 kg at 30 weeks. You have a very healthy, chubby baby. whatever you have been eating and doing, you've been doing absolutely right. Maybe you can post a few instruction of what you have been doing on iMumz app, and that might help a lot of other people, right? So eat right. Whatever you have been eating, you're doing everything right. If you still want that, you feel somewhere you're not doing enough, I think add a protein supplementation, add protein. See, ideally proteins is something that will help a baby grow more. So have your proteins. If you're not able to have have eggs. If you're having eggs, have high protein diet in terms of chana and this and that, if you want to do that. Or कुछ नहीं हो रहा तो सुबह शाम chocolate का protein powder पीजिए. Everything is fine, but you don't require any special diet. You are going to deliver a nice more than 2.5 3 kg chubby child, I guarantee you, and send us a pic on iMumz.
Thank you so much, sir. So Divya, doctor is saying your baby's weight is absolutely normal. So if you continue, so you'll have a fit and fine personality like Dr. Yuvraj. Otherwise, you'll have a chubby baby like me. So the next question is from Preetika. Preetika is in her 27th week of pregnancy. Her doctor suggested that suggested a fetal heart monitor scan, but the appointment is cancelled now. Is this a compulsory scan? Can she avoid during this lockdown?
Not at all, not at all. 26 weeks. So I'm not saying that your doctor was asking you to do a not important scan. Doing a scan is always great because he might be wanting to monitor your growth. But 26 weeks, there is no scan that is a compulsion, right? So 26 weeks मतलब आपको fetal movements feel हो रही है. अगर आपकी fetal movements are absolutely fine, if you feel your weight is increasing, if you're showing a good baby bump, you don't need the scan. You're fine. So I think, Ravi, I just want to point out, any pregnancy, forget corona. Okay. See, I'm talking about normal pregnancies here. I'm not talking about high-risk pregnancies. Forget corona. You only and only require 3 या 4 scan. One is to diagnose. Second is at 3 months. That is the NT scan that we are all fretting about. The third scan is the 22-23 week scan, which is for actually to diagnose an abnormality in the baby. And the last is your 9th month scan, because we all want to know the weight of the baby, the growth of the baby. But so only 4 scans in a pregnancy are important. You can do 10 if you want, but only 4. So you see everyone in the world cannot do 10 scans. Essential scans are only and only 4.
So you got it, ladies. A great advice from one of the finest obstetricians in the country. You only need 4 scans. You can have 10 if you want. So please stay assured. We'll take the next question from Vishaka. Vishaka is in her 14th week of pregnancy and she missed the doctor's appointment today and even the sonography. Is it okay? And
absolutely fine.
Yeah. So Vishaka, Dr. Yuvraj, for the first 10 minutes, we had a beautiful session with him. You can check what he advised. Next question is from Niv B. My anomaly scan showed my length of my cervix as 3 centimeters. The doctor has put on Susten twice a day. She is currently in a 29th week of pregnancy. I was to take a scan to check the cervix length, but she couldn't. Is it okay to wait till some time?
See, 3 centimeters is normal. Okay. So, maybe, I don't know, if she can tell us, does she have a previous history of preterm or something? If you have a previous history of preterm, I think keep again, you might delay your scan by 5 or a week or so till 14th. It's absolutely fine until unless you're not having any symptoms. But आपको अगर pain हो रहा है, if you're having some kind of symptoms, then you might need to go in earlier. Otherwise, 3 centimeters at 26 weeks, you're doing fine. You don't need to worry about it. Absolutely fine.
The next question is from Megha. Megha is in the 13th week of pregnancy and she is feeling chest pain sometimes. So please advise something for Megha, doctor.
I think Megha, I think you like me have been hogging in the quarantine period with some junk foods. That is the most common cause. So hyperacidity in pregnancy is very common. So if you try to control your food habits, because that's the only reason I can think of at 13 weeks. Those are known as heartburns, and घर पे बैठे in quarantine, we just want to eat things. The only thing I'll tell you is with pregnancy, it's normal also not to take anything away from your complaint. If I'm not saying stop eating, enjoy, but ज़्यादा हो रहा है, तो as I said before, you can just buy a simple ranitidine tablet from the stores, or बहुत सारी है घर पे, you might be having, everyone has them, Gelusil syrup है या Mucain gel है या Digene syrup hai. These are all those syrups that is for hyperacidity and heartburns. Just take them before your meal twice a day, and I think you should be fine.
Thank you, doctor. So Prachi, so sorry I missed your question. It's just a human error. There's nothing personal. So Prachi's question is, Doctor, Prachi is in her second month of pregnancy. Congratulations, Prachi. She's getting mild pain around the period dates, hoping not to get one. Is it okay? Which is better, natural progesterone or artificial progesterone?
You are having pain during your period dates. I think those are simple cramps. It's just coincidental that you are relating it to your pregnancy. So don't worry about it. Progesterone, which is better? I think the best is which your obstetrician prescribes. Trust them.
Yeah. So Dr. Parsu is also watching you live, and he's saying hi to you, Dr. Yuvraj.
Hi, Dr. Parshuram.
The next question is from Deepthi Bhalla. Deepthi is in her 8th week of pregnancy and she's not having any symptoms like morning sickness, nausea. Deepthi, I'm sure the pregnant women who are having these symptoms will call you so lucky. Let's see what Dr. Yuvraj has to say.
Oh, absolutely, Deepthi. So so the only thing is, since you are alarmed, if you have had a previous checkup, I think you are 8 weeks, so probably आपने checkup कराया होगा. नहीं कराया तो भी don't worry. But if you had a previous checkup, then you are absolutely fine, and I think better you concentrate on certain other things and enjoy your pregnancy. It's not necessary that you need to have symptoms in your pregnancy.
So the next question is from Alpha Lung. She's asking, what is the best position for sleeping in pregnancy?
Good. So I'd start from behind here. So if you're in your later pregnancies, if you're in your 3rd trimester, if you're in your 2nd trimester, late 2nd trimester, it's always advisable to sleep on the left lateral side. So general language में बोला जाए तो left lateral, what we mean is करवट लेके, and usually a left-sided करवट, because what happens is once the baby starts growing inside your uterus, क्या होगा कि the uterus becomes heavy, and just behind the uterus are your major blood vessels in your body, which goes the vessels that supplies blood to your heart, to your brain, and everything. So when you sleep straight with your face towards the roof, your belly towards the roof, it's going to compress them, and you might have certain dizziness, certain shortness of breath. So the best position is the left lateral position. And if you're in your 1st trimester, I don't think it really matters. Also, if you have history or your doctor has told you that you're high risk of miscarriage or something like that, तो फिर आपको शायद they might ask you to do an elevation, which is all right. And one more thing is, if you have a lot of edema, मतलब पैर पे बहुत सारी सूजन है आपको, then it might help you to just put a pillow on your leg, so that all that blood flow that is collecting in your leg and causing a lot of swelling in your leg will subside.
Thank you so much. Dr. Pushpa Pandey is also looking at you. The next question is from Megha Trivedi. She's in her 7th week of pregnancy. Due to the lockdown, she's not able to reach to her gynec for initial scan. Her baby BP today is 96/64. Is it normal?
Yeah. Please, it's absolutely normal. I don't know why you're measuring your BP. Don't measure your BP until and unless you're feeling dizzy, या फिर आपको ऐसे कोई symptoms आ रहे हैं, then it's okay. Otherwise, just because you're pregnant in your 7 weeks, do we measure our BPs every day? We don't need to. You're just causing more stress to yourself. But yes, अगर आपको dizziness हो रहा है या आपको you're feeling hypertensive, चक्कर आ रहे हैं, weakness हो रहा है, then might be it's a little low. Pregnancy में, first of all, it is a normal blood pressure in pregnancy. All right, let's get that clear. But if you're feeling any symptoms, then increase your water intake level. try having some electrolytes. What I mean is, घर पे tang है या नींबू पानी बना के have your sweet or salt lime sodas, and I think you should do fine. Otherwise, your blood pressure is normal.
Pritika, we didn't actually get your question. So if you can post again, we'll try to get it answered. The next question is from Devjani Tarafdar. Hi, doctor. I have been prescribed aspirin for a while after my NT scan and blood test. Is it something very serious?
No. So it's not serious, but see, there are two reasons. One is aspirin nowadays is quite commonly prescribed by a lot of doctors for every pregnancy. So that is a scientific debate, but if it's given just as a general, it was started before the moment you got pregnant, it's absolutely fine. Don't worry, it's nothing serious. Second, aspirin is given for some causes. अगर आप infertility say you've conceived or you've had a previous miscarriage, then aspirin was given to you, then also it's fine because that has only been given to you to help you in your pregnancy and probably prevent those complications. The third reason is if you had signs of blood pressure and increased blood pressure in your previous pregnancy, then aspirin is usually given to you so that it helps you prevent those complications in your next pregnancy. Again, that's a good sign, nothing to worry about. The only reason that you need to worry about is sometimes your 13 weeks and your NT scan, these scans kabhi they give you your susceptibility to have high blood pressure. ये स्कैन से पता चलता है कि you might be a patient of high blood pressure in your future days of pregnancy, and if then the aspirin is started, it's nothing to be worried about. That means it's a good sign. It has been caught by your doctor early. Thank him for it. But what you need to take care is cut down on your salt intake and keep a check on your blood pressure.
Yeah. So one last question we're taking from Priyanka. She is in her 19th week of pregnancy, and due to the lockdown, she's not able to visit the doctor. She have and no scans, injections have been postponed. She's currently taking folic acid, calcium, iron supplements. Should she continue these supplements or any changes? And it's been 1 month since she visited her doctor.
19 weeks pregnancy. So you've checked before 1 month. That means you had a check at around 14, 15 weeks of pregnancy. So I think 19 weeks is a very safe period in pregnancy. If I get it right, you're already on iron, folic acid, and I think you should normally people add calcium. So if you're not taking calcium, add calcium. And if you're having a proper diet and doing well, nothing more, you're absolutely fine. If आपको कुछ add करना ही है, and I want to show that I'm a different doctor, then you can add a protein supplement. You can start a pregnancy protein powder, second trimester. It might help you with the growth of your baby. And if you're taking enough proteins in your daily meal, please don't start them. You're doing fine. But as soon as the lockdown goes, I think you will be in the right time to go for an anomaly scan, get a checkup done.
So Payal Bajaj is thanking you for the great informative session, doctor, and
Hi Payal. Dr. Payal is a doctor from Delhi and a very close friend. I'm glad she's here.
So all the lovely ladies who are watching this, Tazeen, Aditi Sinha, Megha Trivedi, Amrita Srinath, Damini Perla, Leela Mahajan, Payal Upadhyaya, Anusha Murthy, Asmita Bhalsingh, Isha Sharma, Baby Shamli, Ruchi Wala, Shruti Dikshit, and
Ruchi Wala is a very famous retinal surgeon from Ahmedabad.
Oh.
I think she's planning her pregnancy.
Glad to have you with you, Dr. Ruchiwala. So everyone, I mean, all the lovely ladies which I named out currently, due to time scarcity, we could not take these questions. We requested Dr.
Ravi, can we take one question? I think there is an important question.
Okay, doctor.
So I think, what is the name? Alpa Lunkad. She's asked about, she's 33 years old and she's asked about her thyroid in pregnancy. So it's important because one, you are a little bit on the higher side, Mrs. Alpa, and plus if you are suffering from thyroid disorders, yes, if you've just recently got pregnant, please check them. It's very important because it's one of the most common causes of miscarriages. You need, if it's your first trimester, you need it to be less than 2.5. If you're on any thyroid medications, continue them. If you're not on thyroid medication and levels come high, please start them. But keep that in check. It's very important to monitor your thyroid levels in pregnancy, especially at your age. And before Ravi ends, I think I couldn't because we were having a really nice session. I had a lot of fun. And Dr. Jaideep and a lot of my friends were sending me messages and encouraging me and really enjoying the session. I really, really thank them. All of these friends who we talked about are great specialized doctors in their own states, of course, in the country. And I thank you to give me this opportunity and have met you. I thank Dr. Jaideep who who could take the time out and listen and be here. And all my friends, thank you. I love you. And to all the lovely ladies, pregnancy is a good journey.
So sorry for people we couldn't take the rest of the questions, but please stay assured. Please post them on the iMumz mobile application. Dr. Trupti or some of the in-house experts will answer your question tonight itself. Please post them on the iMumz app and we'll get it answered. We know these questions are very, very important for you, and at this stage, we are here to use support to the extent whatever we can. And thank you so much, Dr. Yuvraj, for having this wonderful session with us and patiently answering all the questions. I think you have a lot of demand with ladies, so I think you should do more sessions like this, Dr. Yuvraj. The way the calm
I hope that is because of my knowledge.
Of course, Dr. Yuvraj. With pregnant ladies at least.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ravi. And to everyone, as I said, pregnancy is a beautiful journey. Don't stress over it. You are all going to have beautiful, handsome guys and beautiful girls being delivered soon. And I wish all the best to everyone.
Yeah. And once again, please post your missed questions in the iMumz app and we'll get it answered. Thank you so much again, Dr. Yuvraj, for joining us. Have a nice day. And everyone, please subscribe the iMumz channel to get notified for the further live sessions. And you can also post a review on iMumz app if you're enjoying the iMumz application. Thank you so much.
Bye, Ravi.
Thank you, Doctor.